Madhi is an energy expert. Mohamed, good afternoon to you, and thank you for your time. So the Minister now gives an update on the Energy Action Plan. He says there's been a lot more maintenance, and there will be more maintenance in the future. How important is it to do that quickly and to do it well?
Good afternoon, Stephen, and to the viewers. Maintenance is clearly very important, and it has to be done well. There's no alternative. If you don't do maintenance well, the effects are with you for many years to come, especially when you have a shortage in terms of funds for maintenance. But the thing I think is still concerning is the kinds of promises and statements that have been made without having a clear handle and control over the system. Maintenance is one component of it. But what we need to understand is what degree of control does Eskom and all the necessary stakeholders that are involved have over the system? And at this point, the answer is not a heck of a lot. So unfortunately, making statements are as empty as they were in the past. And almost every statement made in the past has proven to be incorrect. We've had at least 3 promises of no load shedding, and we've had many bouts of load shedding. So for me, that is the biggest concern.
So, I mean, the question is, we're being told that maintenance is being done. Is it being done? And I hate to say this, we might only find out in winter when it gets really cold and power demand goes up.
So I think the maintenance is being done, but whether or not that is sufficient to ensure that we're going to have less load shedding is a completely different question. Remember that we're dealing with power stations. The average age of our power stations is over 33 years. So they're close to end of life, and quite a few of them are actually, at end of life. And in that situation, even if you've done maintenance very well over many years, you're still going to have unplanned breakdowns. You're going to have outages that were unpredictable. So it's exacerbated by the fact that maintenance was not always done in the best way, for the past decade and a half. It's good to see it happening now, but you're not going to make up for that, negligence in a short space of time. It's going to take quite a while.
It seems now, from what I can glean from the Minister, from what the board of Eskom has said, that the new CEO, Dan Marikana, and the executive have been told to implement the VGBE report. This is the report by the German experts. As I understand that report, they say there should be big changes to the way power stations are actually run. You've been a power station engineer in your time. Would giving power station managers more power, would that be the right thing to do?
I think it is certainly a step in the right direction. Power station managers, one should note, however, were always some of the most powerful individuals within Eskom, with a great deal of autonomy. So in terms of the day-to-day running and the decisions that are made around power station managers had a lot of leeway. The real problem is we have a lack of skills and a real shortage of the right skills to run these power stations. And before, we all jump up and say that we need to get more of the right skills in, the reason that we have this lack of skills is because many of the smart guys have left the coal-fired power industry and have gone to renewables and to other industries. So it's not a case of, we've never had smart people there or anything like that. It's just they've gone on to greener pastures. So that's the real challenge. How do you get people excited about coming to work on a coal-fired power plant where it's got no future?
And I imagine some of them might even have left the country. Around the world at the moment there's a big energy transition. Those skills are in high demand.
Absolutely. So quite right. Look, fortunately in that regard, South Africa is a very vibrant renewable energy industry and renewable energy marketplace. We do have good policies. We do have a very, very active private sector. So it is attractive to good talent and also for good investment because, the returns are good. The rewards for off-takers and those that build projects are also good. So that part I'm not too concerned about. I think there is some skills, of course, going overseas, or quite a bit of skills going overseas. But we need to just make the switch from this coal-fired mentality to an alternative energy mentality.
It's interesting when we talk about changes at Eskom because you're talking about changing the culture of a huge organization. And I mean, around the world, that's really hard to do.
It's very hard to do. It's, the analogy that is often used is the supertanker takes a long time to turn around. And we're going to spend all this energy, no pun intended, and all this time and all this money turning this huge super tanker around, which is destined to become a white elephant. In the next 5 to 10 years from now, we're going to have a proliferation of decentralized power plants. Most of the power that will be used is going to be behind the meter, or what we call on-site power. There's, of course, still room for the national grid and national operators and so on, but a very, very large percentage of our power is going to come from decentralized power plants. So Eskom needs to be aware of where it is going in terms of its long-term path. And that's the change it needs to make. Either it starts, becoming one of these new players, which means a huge change within Eskom, or we unbundle Eskom, privatize it, and the parts that are really relevant to the national grid, like the system operators or the transmission side of the business, keep that within Eskom.
Mohamed Madhi, thank you very much indeed. Always appreciate the time. Of course, an expert on electricity.